Joining us tonight is Gordon Houlden, the Director Emeritus of the China Institute at the University of Alberta. Gordon, when we look at the scenes unfolding in China, how historic is it to see this many people on the streets protesting and calling for change?
It is historic. It is not without precedent. It makes me think back to 1989 in the run-up to the Tiananmen demonstrations. The numbers are still smaller, but they're very widespread. There are small-scale demonstrations somewhere. There is one in China every day. A labor dispute, people unhappy about a factory and people want to buy it. They're localized, they're carefully surveilled, they're broken up if they get out of hand. But this kind of on one theme, from the far west to the east, and in Shanghai to Urumqi, that's 3,000 kilometers. This is quite extraordinary.
Is President Xi Jinping listening? Do you believe his government will be changing course in any way here?
The challenge for Xi Jinping is twofold in my view. First, he is the architect. He has taken personal responsibility for this. Some previous presidents of China or general secretaries of the party have had a prime minister with quite a bit of authority, a minister, and the president could dismiss them if necessary. By becoming the minister for everything, he gets the credit for everything, he gets the stick for everything. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is, while China's had, I must confess, great success in keeping the death toll low by global standards, they are way behind for a reasonably developed country, although a very big one, in vaccinations. Somewhere between half and 2/3 of the people over 80, the most vulnerable group, have not been vaccinated. Over half of the population, perhaps even closer to 2/3, has been vaccinated but hasn't had booster shots. And also, I think, meaningful, keep in mind I'm no virologist or epidemiologist, that because China's been spared from broad infection, there's not a lot of people with the natural immunities that they would have gotten from catching COVID and recovering from COVID. So that's a tricky combination. I don't think it can be overcome overnight.
And what more are these protests telling you? Is this beyond the zero COVID policy now?
I think it started as that. I mean, heavens, in this country, people got frustrated. I'm tired of COVID, even though it's still around. So that's not a normal human thing, to be tired of restrictions and just why can't life go back the way it was in 2019? I get that. In China, it's been more intense, big rolling lockdowns. And if you're a worker, industrial worker, or a migrant worker, if you're shut up in your building or in your neighborhood, you may not getting paid. To answer your question about is it more than that, I would argue that because Chinese don't really have a ready means of expressing dissent, a spark will do it. In Tiananmen time, it appeared to have been rapid increase of prices that was the initial generator of the protest. It then morphed into something far broader. And there are a couple signals that some of the demonstrators have gone beyond just protesting COVID. Xi Jinping stepped down, Communist Party of China, etc. That stuff, those sorts of things will get you arrested sooner or later, I fear.
That's Gordon Houlden with the China Institute at the University of Alberta. Thank you for your time tonight, Gordon.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, Nicole.